There is uneasy calm at Techiman in the Borno East region as families of NDC supporters gunned down by security personnel during the election coalition exercise demand justice. Residents of both political divides say fallout of the just-ended elections and subsequent shooting have destroyed the peace that existed between them for years. The shooting at the Techiman Coalition Center claimed 2 lives and injured 9 people. Live FM's Erastus Asari Donko spent some days in Techiman checking the mood there after the shooting and now reports.
Some police and military personnel fired into a crowd of NDC supporters at the collation of the Techiman South election results. Acting Borno East Regional Police Commander DCOP Asumedu Ochredako confirms casualty from that incident.
So far, we have 2 people dead and 9 people injured.
One of the dead is 18-year-old Abdullah Ayarik, an apprentice in the street lighting business in Techiman. One journalist who rushed him to a waiting ambulance describes the moment.
I saw one guy lying down here. So I came to him. Blood was oozing from the nose and the eyes. At that time, he was breathing very slowly. So I lifted him on my chest. By that time, when he breathed, at the same time, you could see blood ooze from the nose and the eyes. So I took him to the ambulance. And by the time I got to the ambulance, there were already about 3 people in the ambulance.
At his family home in Techiman, Abdullah's father, Yusuf Amalo, tells Love News he went to the collation center with him but returned without him.
We didn't bear 1 hour in team.
To walk with your child and realize within the next hour that he's dead. It's not easy. If he got sick or had an accident, perhaps you could come to terms with that.
But wait here.
The shooting at the Borno Champion Hall Collation Center was sporadic, but the bullets that flew through the crowd took supporters like Yusuf Amalo by storm.
I am for Basabasaya.
Voting was peaceful, and so nobody thought there would be violence afterwards. All this time, their guns were always pointed to the side of the NDC. But nobody ever thought the guns could go off in our direction because our hands were clean. The family says it is only justice that can reduce the pain. They shot my boy from the back of the neck. They shot him from the back of the neck.
Justice.
The family wants justice to prevail, to serve as precedents. All who matter in this country should intervene and bring those culpable to face the law. Bullets from this officer seen in the video firing directly at the crowd could have been responsible for the death of another victim. Mohammed Tajuddin, 41, is a truck driver and a father of 4, 3 girls and a boy. The eldest is 15 years. He is described as a calm, loving father with a deep sense of humor. We met his father, Sadiq Al-Hassan, and mother, Hawa Musa, at their family house in Techiman. His hands and feet were very cold when I held him, and I realized then he was dead. When he visits me and I don't have water, despite being married, he would fetch water for me. Sometimes he requests to wash my clothes. In the video of the shooting, Emma Hawa Musa is seen helping carry a motionless Muhammad at the collation center. His mouth was full of blood. When he breathes heavily, blood was oozing from his mouth, ears, nose, everywhere. I shouted, "They've killed my son! They've killed my son!" Strangely, the mother of victim Tajideen is not seeking justice. She says she leaves the shooters to God's justice. I give everything to God. We don't need anything. I've lost everything. Even if I'm given billions, my son will not come back. So for us, we are bringing our case before God. Both Yusuf, father of Ayarik, and Emma Musa have reservations about events that occurred at the collation center in Techiman South constituency. It was all fun that day, with NPP supporters chanting songs across the NDC side. There was no fight. So if anybody says we were fighting, it's a lie. 9 people sustained various degrees of injuries from the shooting. We were able to locate 2 of them who were still on admission at the Wenchi Methodist Hospital at the time of our visit. Elias Suleimana was shot in the arm. He has undergone surgeries to replace broken bones. He currently sports an arm on a plaster of Paris with surgical metals sticking out of it in 4 different spots. His brother Hamidu Suleimana speaks about his condition.
He had a broken bone inside, but thanks be to God and the doctors, they made a surgery the following day. So as I'm talking now, he's still alive and he's still kicking good.
Abubakar Idrisu also suffered gunshot wounds to the leg and can only walk with the aid of crutches. Dr. Abraham Oman is the medical coordinator for the Wenchi Methodist Hospital.
One had radio ulnar fracture, that is fracture of the arm, and then the other one had a gunshot injury that went through the leg. Currently, they've all received treatment. They've all undergone surgery.
The December 8th violent collation of Techiman South election results and the shooting have left a sharp division between supporters of the NPP and NDC, who, hitherto, lived in peace. Though the larger part of Techiman remains peaceful and calm, beneath it grows a simmering lack of faith and trust which threatens the latter.
Anger will be because when you see a NPP sympathizer, you feel like attacking.
It's like they're having some bad blood between them against NPP. But the shooting is not NPP people who shoot, it's the security. And they were preventing destroying of state properties. We all feel sad what happened.
The youth have divergent opinions on results of the elections, especially the parliamentary elections.
One of the peace constituencies,
Techiman South is one of the peaceful constituencies. This time around is because it's the first time a Northerner has contested and won. And because of that, he's been denied the seat. The loss of loved ones and what they describe as a stolen election create a double agony whose uncanny urge for action is being restrained.
election bia no ayakoma kra ba kokora de ba ahwere okromada.
We never lost any life in any election here. It has started with this election, but the leaders should break this trend, or else it will follow through subsequent elections. Supporters of the NDC in Techiman South believe their candidate Christopher Bayre has been robbed of victory, and they anticipate a recollation. But the hierarchy of the NPP and NDC differ strongly on the subject. At a recent collation of the Sine West parliamentary results, Dan Botwe of the NPP and Dr. Kwabena Donko of the NDC shared their views.
Once results are declared, they should know how to challenge it. So you cannot say that you want Techiman South to go to what process. They are finished with letter commission has declared. So it's typical NDC. Either it's mischief, or they will not take time to study or learn the process very well.
We of the NDC, what we're saying is that Techiman South, like Banda in the Bono region, EC had declared Banda in the favor of NDC. Yes, MPP insisted that there should be recollation, and it was done. So what stops the same EC using the same principle to do a recollation for Techiman South? That is all we're saying.
Affected families in the shooting who remain bitter say the issue will remain a certain time bomb until justice reigns. Reporting for JoyNews, Erastus Asaredonko, Techiman South, Bono East region.
Erastus Asaredonko put that piece together, beautifully woven. Now, the Bono East Regional Secretariat of the National Democratic Congress has described preliminary investigations conducted by the police CID in relation to the Techiman South shooting as full of falsehoods and inaccuracies. The party has been addressing a press conference in the region at which Secretary Mohammed Shamsuddin Ali called on government to establish what they call a proper investigative committee to investigate the matter for peace to prevail in the region. We'll hear from the party in a bit, but first listen to the Director General of the Police CID, COP Ken Yeboah, addressing a press conference about 2 weeks ago, saying these are part of the preliminary investigations at the time.
8 male adults were injured in the process. Police called the National Ambulance Team, which was standing by the center, and the victims were rushed to Holy Family Hospital for treatment. However, Abdallah Ayarek and Tajuddin Mohammed were pronounced dead on arrival. But our investigation so far revealed that whilst the electoral officials were collating the results at about 1540 hours, the results were projected as follows: 49,582 for the MPP parliamentary candidate, 49,205 for the MDC parliamentary candidate. Supporters of the NDC who had gathered outside the hall became angry and started attacking the center with stones and other offensive weapons. They broke the cordon zone and forced their way into the coalition center. And that was when the shot was fired from the crowd, and the police personnel detailed to safeguard the center also gave warning shots. And then after the rioters had left the place, 8 male adults were injured. I must say that the police are still investigating to find out who actually committed the offense.
All of the CID COP Ken Yeboah. Well, let's take you to the Bono East region, where the party executives there believe this report is not entirely accurate. My colleague Anas Sabit monitored the briefing and has this report.
At a press conference organized by the Bono East Regional NDC and addressed by the party's regional secretary Mohammed Shamsuddin Ali, the party accused the police of being in bed with the governing New Patriotic Party. Mr. Shamsuddin Ali described narratives made by the Director General of the CID, COP Isaac Kenyabua, in relation to the Techiman South Coalition as full of falsehoods and inaccuracies.
We have invited you here this morning purposely to make some vital correction in the distortion of facts in the preliminary investigation made by the police CID and the statement made by the Inspector General, the Director General of CID, COP Isaac Kenyabua, which are full of inaccuracy and falsehood, corroborating our belief that the police department are seriously in bed with the MPP government. This action by the police, we believe, will not augur well for the nation in deepening our democracy in the African continent.
The party accused the police of acting unprofessionally and called on government to establish what it called a proper investigative committee, as it has lost trust in the police CID.
What I want to say here is that the police should not play with the intelligence of the good people of this region and the country as a whole. The police behaved unprofessionally, and they should, as a matter of urgency, bring the perpetrators to book and ensure that justice is served to the people who were affected. We are, by this press conference, calling on government to set up a proper investigative committee to investigate this matter and bring the perpetrators to book in order to guarantee peace in the region. We can't trust the police CID to do a good job, since they have shown clearly that they can't be neutral and transparent in this matter, since the perpetrators of this monstrous crime are their colleagues.
On the subject of coalition, however, the NDC is still standing by its earlier claims that coalition was not done properly at the Techiman South Coalition Center.
Looking at the incident that occurred at the Bononchampem war, proper coalition were not done. If they claim they had done coalition, the proper coalition hasn't taken place.
The party described the actions of the returning officer for the Techiman South constituency as criminal, thereby justifying the attempts made by its Techiman South parliamentary candidate and other executives to stop the declaration.
This is where our people were resisting. You can see our candidate and our people resisting, because it is each and every individual right to prevent someone in committing a crime. The man wants to commit a crime because he's not using the legally mandated pink sheet. So he's committing a crime. He was stealing. That is why our men were preventing.
They reiterated earlier calls by the leadership of the parliamentary caucus of the NDC to recollate the Techiman South parliamentary results. Reporting for JoyNews, Anas Sabit, Techiman.
Now joining me right now via Zoom is the NDC's Regional Secretary, Mohammed Shamsuddin Ali. Hello, Mohammed. Thank you for your time. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much, my sister.
At your press conference, you described the CID's preliminary investigation report as full of falsification and inaccuracies, or falsehoods and inaccuracies. Point me directly to these inaccuracies, sir.
Thank you very much. Let me say a very good evening to your cherished viewers. I think when you monitor the preliminary investigation made by the police CID, the Director General, he did indicate emphatic in his statement that their preliminary investigation indicates that the supporters of the NDC who had gathered outside the coalition center attacked the coalition center, and for that matter, broke the cordon zone and entered the coalition center, and then gave a shot which is absolutely incorrect.
Who gave a
it's
shot?
Falsehood.
Hang on, who gave a shot?
No, he said there was a shot from the crowd.
Okay, so this is what he said. He said,
yes.
I'll just go through it for you. He said, during the collation, these figures were announced, 4,582 for the NPP.
No, 49,000. He said 49,000.
Yeah, 49,582 for the NPP. Then 49,205 for the NDC. He says at this time, supporters of the NDC started throwing stones or attacking the personnel there with stones, and that is when the police shot, fired gun, if you like, he says warning shots to disperse the crowd. You say that is false?
No, it's false. It's not true. There wasn't any attack by the NDC supporters outside there. You see, we were inside the collation center, right? When the returning officer tries to, manipulate and make a pronouncement on a resource of which he has not done collation. So our supporters were trying to stop him from engaging in that illegality, because it is an illegal to declare results on an A4 sheet. We have legally mandated.
Mr. Shamsuddin, I believe you've seen the video.
What do you call it? Which is by law, you use it.
Let's start from outside. Did any of the NDC supporters throw stones at the officials at the polling center?
They never even entered the collation center.
Okay, so I'm looking at the video right now. I just want to find out what you because you're saying that what the police is reporting is not true. And I want just to find out, at least with the video evidence that we have, did supporters of the NDC, and I just want you to answer this for me so we can proceed from there. Did supporters of the NDC throw stones? Did they pelt stones at the officers, including the security officials there? At any point,
your argument on only the fact that they've pelted stones.
No, let's take it one after the other. No, we will come to that point. Let's just take it one after the other. Did they pelt stones at the officials?
I didn't see anybody throwing any stone there.
All right.
I was there.
I'm looking at the video right now, and I'm talking about what happened outside. You've clearly indicated that you were inside earlier. I'm looking at the video right now outside, and I'm seeing that stones are being thrown. At the same time, though, the gunfire is heard, or what sounds like gunfire is heard, and we see the officers holding their guns, and they look like they're shooting, and obviously from the video they are. But stones are also flying, and that's why I wanted to find out from you, at what point did the NDC supporters start to throw the stones?
You see, my sister, if in any case they did throw stones, as he's alleging, if they did, was that the right way of preventing an armed civilian who had gathered at a collation center just to hear the results of the vote they have casted?
Okay.
Is it professionally for a police officer or a military officer to shoot at civilians, on armed civilians, just because they have thrown stones? Is that the case?
So that's one part of it. You say this is not the sequence of the story given by the CID is not true. So that's one part you've pointed out. The other part is...
said they threw stone, they broke the coded zone and entered the collation center. What is false?
What happened?
They didn't enter the collation. Yes. They didn't enter the collation center.
What did they do?
They were outside the collation center when the constituency organizer was brought out by the security inside the collation center. That was where they came in front of the collation center, not inside, at the doorstep of the collation center, trying to interrogate and ask what is happening. Because they've been there throughout the night.
I get that point, but do you see the mass of people that were outside? Did they all approach the entrance of the building?
Not quite all of them. Not quite all of them did, because when the police officers and the military officers pointed guns at those inside the collation center, instructed them that each and every individual inside the collation center should move out.
Okay.
They held one of our supporters, who is the constituency organizer, and brought him outside He was the one who was trying to stop the returning officer
the one who was
engaging
heckling
in that illegality.
He was the one who was heckling the AC official, which is also wrong.
No, it isn't wrong.
Did you see what he did? He jumped at him, tried to snatch the megaphone from him. That is wrong.
Yes, it's not wrong. Let me tell you why I'm saying it's not wrong. The returning officer is trying to engage in an illegality. And
there are processes to deal with illegalities, just like you're saying there are processes to disperse a crowd like we had there. There are processes to deal with that illegality. So as much as the police didn't go through the process from your perspective, your guy didn't also go through the process inside there when he tried to heckle the electoral officer, don't you think?
No, he is not heckling him, my sister.
We can very well see what was happening in the video.
No, in the video, the returning officer is trying to announce a result on an A4 sheet. And he's trying to stop him.
Okay, so let's move on.
Announcing it on the A4 sheet.
Mr. Shamsuddin, let's move on. I have run out of time. Quickly, you say that the government should form what you're calling a proper investigative committee because you can't trust the CID. What will a proper investigative committee look like for you? Briefly, because I've run out of time, please.
Good. What we were here when Iowa West Wugon happened. It was an election. We went and voted. There were some shooting incidents. Nobody died. Is that not it? But there was a very comprehensive and what do you call investigative commission set up to investigate the outcome of the shooting and then what had gone on.
Yes.
But in the case of Techiman,
I just want you to help us understand what a proper committee will look like for you. Give us what it should consist of for you to consider it a proper committee because of time. Good. If you can make it brief for me.
The police, yes, the police, the police commander and foot who did the shooting because they were involved. It was not a civilian or somebody somewhere who did the shooting.
Who should be on the committee? Mr. Shamsuddin, who should be on the committee to be proper in your perspective?
No, but they should set, what do you call it, bipartisan commission. In it. It should be even a commission, just like what happened.
Just like what happened in the Ayawaso West Wugon case. I think that's what you're trying to say. It looks like the network has failed us there. But unfortunately, we've also run out of time. Shamsuddin Mohammed Ali is the NDC Regional Secretary for the Bono East region. The point they're making is that they want a bipartisan committee to be set up to investigate what happened in the Techiman South constituency.